Hello and welcome to Business News. The new president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, has promised that the bank will launch a new deal on energy for Africa. Speaking after his investiture as the 8th president of the bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina added that his administration will focus on equality and financial inclusion across the continent. In the meantime, Nigeria's Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who witnessed the investiture alongside President Alassane Ouattara of Cote d'Ivoire and some state governors, urged the bank to encourage good governance and increase efficiency of its programs to address salient issues in health, education, unemployment and agriculture. And if Nigerians must enjoy regular power supply, then a hike in electricity tariff is inevitable. This is coming from the President and Chief Executive of Transcorp, Mr. Emmanuel Norom. The expert who runs the Ughelli Power Generating Company in Delta State says distribution companies are struggling to meet demands in the area of metering and facilities maintenance. Mr. Norom further explains that the consumers' hearing scheduled with distribution companies for next week will provide a platform to update consumers on the need for a hike in electricity tariff.
There could be issues about metering, having a proper meter in place, or perhaps what some will call a pay-as-you-go type of meter, or perhaps maybe there are some local transmission issues with transformers and so on. But all of that, I think, is necessary, really, that consumers are continuously engaged, because they have to pay the cost of this to the distribution companies, and then that, of course, flows back to us as generating companies. So I think it's a welcome thing for all parties.
The Nigerian stock market index took a negative turn today, sinking 1.17% to close in red after a 4-day rally. Here's Bolaji Akinwale with the breakdown of the figures.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. The midweek session at the Nigeria equities markets did not sustain the gains in the two previous sessions. The key index shed 1.17% to close below the 30,000 psychological level at 29,870.86 points. Leading the pack of losers are petroleum marketing stocks. Photo oil dipped by 12 naira 42 kobo. Seplat lost 12 naira 23 kobo, while Nigeria Brewers shared 2 naira 9 kobo. Analysts believe the slide in the share prices of oil stocks is owing to the continued volatility of prices in the global markets. Meanwhile, marginal gains were recorded as shown in the shares of Total, Julius Berger and Stanbic IBTC, all below 1 naira each. Bank stocks still took the lead on the volume charts. Zenith Bank recorded the highest units at 173.6 million shares. It was followed by Skybank and UBA PLC. At the end of the session, more than 439.6 million shares were traded for 4.5 billion naira in 4,345 deals. And that's a wrap on the stock market reports. I am Bolaji Akinwale.
Thank you, Bolaji. While Nigeria's economic realities may worsen as its other source of revenue, gas, is now being threatened at the international market. This is coming from the Nigeria Liquefied and Natural Gas Company. In a statement, the country's sole source of gas says that the entry of the United States and Australian LNG volume into the international market is a real cause for concern. According to the company, the impact of the volumes would slow down revenue generation from gas till 2016, and it adds that though these challenges, which include the impact of falling crude oil prices, are being managed, the regulatory environment has shown increasing uncertainties. Nigeria has one of the largest gas reserves in the world and is the second largest supplier of LPG globally. Let's stay tuned for some figures from the global equities markets. And And that's it on business news at this time. Thank you for watching. I'm Imana Amawe. The news at 10 continues in a moment. Still ahead on the news at 10, Super Eagles captain Vincent Enyeama withdraws from Saturday's 2017 AFCON qualifier against Tanzania. That's on sports. Do join us again.
Welcome to Sports News. Super Eagles captain and #1 goalkeeper Vincent Enyeama has opted out of this weekend's 2017 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against the Taifa Stars of Tanzania. Enyeama has asked to be exempted from the trip to Dar es Salaam for personal reasons. The team will depart for Tanzania tomorrow with the 2 goalkeepers currently in camp, Wolverhampton Wanderers Carl Ikeme and Sunshine Stars stopper Ikechukwu Ezenwa. Both keepers have so far impressed the Nigerian national team selectors, who are yet to make a decision on who gets the nod in Enyama's absence. The former African champions began their 2017 AFCON qualification campaign on a winning note with a 2-0 victory against Chad in June. And Super Eagles forward Ahmed Musa says they will not underestimate Tanzania in their African Cup of Nations qualifier. Now, during a media briefing in Abuja, the CSKA Moscow player urged his teammates to go all out for victory. Saturday's match will be Sunday Olise's first in charge after taking over from Stephen Keshi.
Yeah, for me, I don't think we don't have to underrate any country, no matter how little the country is. What we have to focus is we have to go there to play what we know how to do. I know the style of play that African football is, so I have to adopt. For Tanzania, we watched their game yesterday and we saw how they used to play. So I think we know a little about Tanzania. So when we get there on Saturday, we know how to face them.
Sierra Leone striker Kay Kamara is confident the Leone Stars can stun African champions Côte d'Ivoire in their 2015 AFCON qualifier at the Adoke Amiesimaka Stadium in Port Harcourt. Kamara, who was our guest on our morning sports show, Sports This Morning, says the players have put behind them the situation of the Ebola virus back home and will be ready for action. And the FIFA delegation earlier today made a tour of St. Petersburg new state-of-the-art stadium, which is due to be completed next year. The stadium will host matches in the Confederations Cup, a warm-up tournament, and then the 2018 World Cup itself. Operational Director of World Cup 2018 Organization Committee Dmitry Godunov said the objective of the visit was to figure out technical points of the arena's operations. Head of FIFA's monitoring group for the 2018 World Cup, Chris Unger, said the arena should be tested before it hosts matches of the championship. That's it on Sports News. Back to Enyeama with the rest of the news at 10.
Now, Congo's former rebel leader, General Bosco Ntaganda, has pleaded not guilty to an 18-count charge at the International Criminal Court in The Hague. Ntaganda's trial is said to be the biggest and most complex in history. Here's Amarachi Ubani with more.
Ntaganda's trial was indeed a major case at the ICC today, where he is facing charges including murder, rape and the recruitment of child soldiers. Those who were at the court said the start of the trial was a historic moment for the ICC. Ntaganda reportedly made his not guilty plea in a barely audible voice. He is accused of killing at least 800 civilians in separate attacks on a number of villages between 2002 and 2003 and raping girl soldiers and keeping them as sex slaves. Over in Hungary, hundreds of migrants have been at a major train station in Budapest where they've been prevented from boarding a train to Germany and other EU countries. The migrants say they've paid hundreds of euros for tickets and are camping out at the station until the doors are opened. But the Hungarian government says it is trying to enforce the Dublin law. Thousands of migrants have been making their way to Europe from the Middle East and Africa, with reports that as many as 107,500 made it across in July. Finally, police in Bangkok have made a breakthrough in identifying a major suspect in the bombing of the Erawan Shrine on August 17th. They say fingerprints on possible bomb-making equipment found at one of the suspects' house on Saturday match those of one of those detained in relation to the case. No one has yet claimed responsibility for the blast, though police have issued 8 arrest warrants over the blast. Those were today's headlines. It's back to you, Joma.
Thanks a lot, Amarachi. And the main news again. Port Harcourt refinery has resumed full operations, while that of Warri is also expected to take off this week. The Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Dr. Ibe Kachuku, who led a team to the refinery in Enyeama, River State today, said at the moment it's producing 5 million litres of petrol every day. The Chief of Naval Staff has warned of heavy sanctions for ship owners engaging in crude oil theft. During a meeting with top management of the Shipowners Association of Nigeria, Vice Admiral Ibok Ibas solicited the cooperation with the Navy to curb illegal operations. And the EU is yet to agree on migrants as protest in Budapest, Hungary's capital, enters a second day. Well, that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm Enyeama. Good night.